Let me welcome all of you. So I'm Paolo Tasca, the Executive Director of the University College Center for Blockchain Technologies and former central banker at the Deutsche Bundesbank and the founder of this conference. And let me welcome you all to this last day of the conference, the last third day of this P2P Financial Systems International Workshop. And let me do a brief introduction for those of you that were not able to attend the first 2 days of this event, and let me give you some flavor about the meaning and the vision of these international workshops. So as we all know, the emergence of P2P and decentralized finance has raised new doubts and questions on the opportunities and risk of the current digital transformation of financial markets. Despite the implementation of a series of reforms, including the introduction of regulatory sandboxes, new rules that brings clarity of digital assets, including the recent proposal for a regulation of market in crypto assets, MiCA, at the EU level, two major questions still remain. The first one is about whether the current financial disintermediations is fit for the future, and whether the current global regulatory response is adequate to support the ongoing hyper-innovation and open competition, preserving at the same time stability and the smooth functioning of the markets. So these two major questions remains to be answered. So the perspective chosen by these workshops to face such controversial themes are probably to be considered as the keystone to evaluate not simply advantages and disadvantages, but also present and future challenges that these new technologies are placing. So therefore, the idea of this conference, and this year, let me remind you that is the 6th edition. The idea of this conference is to bring academics and practitioners in contact with central banks and other regulatory bodies in order to address questions of practical importance about digital currencies, P2P lending and crowdfunding, digital money transfer, mobile banking and mobile P2P payments, distributed systems, and smart legal contracts. So let me say, there's a founder of this conference that I still remember, I still very well remember how innovative were those topics also covered during the first edition in 2015. The first edition was hosted by the Deutsche Bundesbank in Frankfurt. And however, and over the last 6 years, many new innovations happened in this field that we were not even able to imagine by that time. So, for example, the Cambrian explosion that we have seen in the last years of new startup funding models through ICO, STO, IEO, and all other type of new tokenization model, which basically allow under several controversial implications, these small projects to raise billions of US dollars during the last year is one of these examples that we were not able to foresee. Another is basically the emergence of several different stable coins that count at this as of today about 20 billion US dollar. See also the challenge that comes from the big tech giants and the projects like Libra that for many sounded like a warning alert for central banks. These are new innovations that we were not able to foresee during the first editions of this workshop. This challenge of stable coins open up a big debate within the circle of central banks. Some central banks are more pessimistic. Let me remind a recent interview given by Christine Lagarde, who recently said that stable coins could threaten the financial stability and security if widely adopted, Using stablecoin as a store of value could trigger a large shift of bank deposits to stablecoin, which may have an impact on banks' operations and the transmission of monetary policies. So on the other side, there are other central banks that have adopted a more optimistic view on this issue and this challenge. A recent interview by Andy Haldane, chief economist of the Bank of England, suggests that stable coins and the central bank issues digital currencies could indeed improve a banking sector stability by creating a new class of narrow payment banks, by separating banks that only offer payments backed by safe assets from those that offer credit services. So you see how the debate is still very live and open. And of course, this trigger also the design of new projects around central bank digital currencies. Dozens of central banks around the world are involved in this type of projects. Some are more advanced than others. I remember one of the first was the People Bank of China to enter into this space, and they are planning to roll out the first version release of their digital currency at the Winter Olympics in 2022. And to conclude, as the last innovations that happened during the last 5 years, we witnessed the emergence of decentralized exchanges, or what some people call automated market makers, like Uniswap, for example. So here we are still talking about a small market of an order of about 10 billion per month, but is growing at a high speed. Blockchain analytics showed indeed that the trading volume is increasing, and since January 2020, it surged up to 1,500%. So these are just few of the new areas of innovations that have been engineered and developed during the last 5 years when this workshop started. And this is to give you a glimpse of how difficult and complex and dynamics is this sector of P2P finance and DeFi. So the P2P Financial Systems International Workshop has been designed to be an itinerant conference to be hosted by different central banks around the world. So far, the P2P Financial System International Workshop has been hosted, sponsored, or supported by major central banks, including the Bank of England, the Bank of Canada, the Deutsche Bundesbank, the Federal Reserve Bank of Cleveland, the Federal Reserve Bank of St. Louis, the European Central Bank, the Netherlands Bank. And let me thank all these central banks for having shared with us the view and the vision. So the speakers have been the likes of Professor Marvin Zonis, Emeritus Professor at the University of Chicago, Jeffrey Bandman, former US Commodity and Future Trading Commission, John Schindler from the Federal Reserve Board, my friend Brian Craig from Fed Cleveland, Michael Liftic from former US Security Exchange Commission Chief of Staff, Antoine Martin, Fed New York, and Catherine Assenmacher, Head of Monetary Policy Strategy at the European Central Bank, just to name a few. So thanks also to the speakers and that contributed to the quality of these events. So we have also linked this event to book launch. So the first book was launched exactly during the first edition, about 5 years ago. The title is Banking Beyond Banks and Money, and the book edited with Professor Tommaso Aste, Loriana Pellizzon, and Nicolas Peroni, and published by Springer. There is a new book launch that is planned to be to occur in 2021, which title is Digital Assets, Pricing, Allocation, and Regulation, with Rina Agarwal from Georgetown University McDonough School of Business. Unfortunately, as we know, we have been in here of unexpected challenges for all of us as we adapt to this new normal, so to say. to this new reality during this COVID-19 emergency, we have decided also to bring this conference online and to cover three main areas of interest. So regulation and governance, the global pandemics and new opportunities for financial technologies, and decentralized finance. Despite these unfortunate circumstances we find ourselves, this year edition is a great success. We had several hundreds of registered attendees and 20 speakers from 10 different countries. The event, as you know, was split in 3 days, running from 11:30 to 14 UK time, and today is the last day of this event. The P2P has, during these 3 days, has focused on research topics relevant to the scientific community and evidence coming from industry and policy-making case studies. The workshop also features panel discussion for participants from academia, industry, and financial regulatory bodies to share the views and the major threats and opportunities related to the emerging disrupting forms of new digital finance. We had an interesting panel discussion on CBDC during the first day with Michael Kumhoff, Bank of England, with Kevin Werbach from the Wharton University of Pennsylvania, and Sonia Davidovich from IMF, moderated by Tom Wilson from Reuters. Yesterday, we had a very interesting keynote from the principal economist of the Innovation and Digital Economy Unit at the Bank for International Settlement, Raphael Auer, who gave a talk about the economic principles of distributed ledger technology and presented a model that developed together with Cyril Monet and Young-Song Shin. It was an interesting keynote because it came from the BIS, and exactly because we know the role of the BIS, the keynote was very interesting. He presented a public good contribution gain model in which validators coordinate and deliver on delivering a public good, meaning consensus in the system. And interesting, it shows us that optimal design of the LT balance the incentives to free ride and validate honestly. And the optimal design may make for a system that is more efficient than a centralized intermediary system. So this is very, very interesting. And of course, you can find, for those of you that was not able to attend these speeches, you can find the panel, you can find the recording of all the sessions on the P2P Financial System Workshop website, which is p2pfisy.com. And before giving the floor to today's speaker, let me point you to the today panel discussion, which will take place at 13 UK time. And the title will be The Global Pandemic and New Opportunities for Financial Technologies. So it's very fitting very well with the current emergency and situations. So the panelists will be Karim B. Maya from Capgemini Invent, Paolo Cironi from IBM, and Mark Esposito from Thunderbird School of Global Management and Harvard University. The moderator will be my friend, Cristina Frankopan from Lazard Financial Advisory and Industry Associates of the UCL Center for Blockchain Technologies. So let me conclude by thanking, and I want to thank the 9 speakers that presented during these 3 days. These speakers undergone a blind review process, and they were selected among 40 different papers. The quality of the papers of this year is excellent and cover cutting-edge topics. Let me also thank the members of the scientific committee, Alexander Lipton from MIT Media Lab, Ben Craig from FED Cleveland, Chris Clark from University College London, David Remark from New York Stern, Joanna Massarotto from University College, Java Su from University College, Marta Piekarska from the Linux Foundation, Nicolas Courtois from University College, Robert Ali from MIT Media Lab, Silvia Bartolucci from University College, Tommaso Aster from University College, Victoria Lemieux from University of British Columbia, Wilco Bolfo from the Netherlands Bank, and Vetek Tsai from Beihang University. Let me also thank Francesco Pierangeli and Java Su, who helped organizing this event this year. And let me also thank the UCI-CBT, who is the home of this event, the Center for Blockchain Technologies at the University College London, one of the first and one of the biggest in the world in terms of associates. We count about 250 associates from all over the world. And we run educational activities and programs, including 2 master programs, one in financial technologies and one in emerging digital technologies that will start next academic year. So if you want to know more, you can surf on the web and search for our center online.